energy is contagious for me. So
Mm,
it's
mm.
what you bring in can really influence the room. So the energy that you bring to whether it's a pitch room or whatever, um, yeah, that the energy is contagious, and the more you can work to influence that energy, um, it'll just thrive. So
Mm. And the fact that you put that in the forefront is eh, eh, you're sharing some of your secret sauce.
yeah. Well, most, I would think most business leaders, maybe not most, but many business leaders kind of push that aside, and you're so hyper focused on revenue and operating profit and all that stuff. But honestly, the energy and influence can be a real game changer.
Today, we are peeling back the curtain on a leader that lives life at a much higher frequency than most. By day, he's the president of Scalzo Hospitality, driving healthy high performance across multiple complex businesses. And by night, he is the frontman, guitarist, and songwriter for the UnderGroove. He doesn't just manage people, he knows how to command a room and capture an audience and build a world class ensemble. Get ready for an unfiltered look at what happens when business strategy meets raw artistic grit. Welcome to the stage, Ryan Haas.
Thank you so much.
Super excited to have you here. I've been eyeing this recording date for a while.
Awesome. Me too. That's two of us then, for sure.
So, Ryan, while most corporate suits treat leadership like an algorithm with charts and spreadsheets, you front a rock band. When did you realize that leading a hospitality empire isn't actually very different from commanding a huge, crowded, sweaty venue when you're on stage with your band?
Well, that's a great question. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to plug the Undergroove if anyone's in Minneapolis. uh, when that's when I don't know if I can pinpoint a when, probably when you told me, honestly. but
Okay,
but
okay.
no, but I there's so many parallels, and in hospitality in general, there's if you've ever worked in a restaurant or hotel, there's when you go out into the public spaces, you're on stage, right? And so there's a ton of parallels there. I don't think I recognized it immediately, but I'll say pretty early on I noticed the parallels, because with a rock band, you're when you're putting on a show, you have all of these expectations, and um the way that things are going to go. I write out a song list, a set list for the show. This is what's
Mhm.
going to happen. You create the set list based on the energy of what you expect the room to be like, and that just goes immediately out the door.
Yeah.
And it's all and so it's based, I mean, so it's really um, kind of based on the reaction of the crowd, the collaboration of your fellow musicians, and
Mm,
I think to answer the question, pretty early on in my leadership, but for sure I started to notice like the don't expect perfection, and
mm,
really what you do to influence your collaborative partners, and the set of people who you're going after in hospitality or in business in general, is really dependent on the energy in the room. So what you can do to influence that energy is the important part, I think.
yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Uh, and what an amazing strength that you have because you think about your interactions that way. So when you're in the work setting and even at home, perhaps you're thinking about that energy, and what kind, what level, what
Mhm.
volume,
Yeah.
and that is what definitely that's what sets you apart in how incredibly effective you are leading multiple teams.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. As a songwriter, I mean, that requires you to literally create something from absolutely nothing. What does that creation process look like for you?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. It it kind of how it starts kind of depends. Sometimes it just like happens, right? You just get
Mm,
inspired and it just like flows out of you. I wish I could get more of those incidents. But oftentimes it's I have ideas about what I want for a song, and I'll grab my voice recorder and play the riff on a guitar, um, piecemeal it. I'll save those things and then collect it, and basically what I do is I'll write the whole song, kind of record a quick demo of that song, and then I'll bring it to the band, right? And in my
okay.
in my opinion, the best songwriters in rock history, they're all partners, or groups of people, not one individual. So I bring that song, that demo to the band. In the undergroove, there's 8 of us, right? So there's a lot of opinions, and thankfully, right? So there's just a lot of good brain energy in the room, and so this is my song. What do you guys think? What are we missing? What can we do? And then we kind of just work as a team to get it done. And the important part for me is staying true to the original idea, but also being open to that's your baby that you just kind of presented. It's gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna
yeah.
change. It's gonna
Eh,
it's gonna evolve, right? And every time that evolution is like the good stuff. That's what I love. So,
Oh, that's so cool to hear.
yeah.
How does that creative, artistic process help you construct business growth strategies where the playbook doesn't exist?
Yeah. I would say the creative process, the similarities are super present, right? It's beyond. It's like boardroom versus rehearsal space. So, in creativity, I think isn't just for artists or musicians, or it's kind of the ability to see possibilities before they're present, or before there's any evidence that those possibilities could work. And so there's a visionary aspect of that too, right? It's like I can see this, right? And the completion of that is, again, what I kind of just hinted at, is that's the good stuff for me, is working as a team to get to that vision.
Mhm. Yeah. And I like that you're bringing in that word, vision, visionary for the business leaders listening that run on EOS. Ryan has been actually, Patrick, Paul, several people have said that Ryan, you are that rare combo. You're really, really strong in both the visionary role and the integrator role. Usually, usually those are at opposite ends of the spectrum. At
Right.
least, like even for me and Ivan, like with me as the visionary and he's the integrator, our approaches on things are just so different. And you're able to just move along that spectrum and be really fantastic in both of those roles. Where does it seem to come from?
I wish I had the answer to that. So,
Is it
and many people say that about me, and it's such I'm full of gratitude for that. It can be challenging. I mean, I think there's an element of wearing multiple hats, right? And like you said, band leader, although there's parallels, it's still quite a different experience. was a football coach for a while with when my kids were younger. Um, yeah, the shift. I think my natural state is more of the integrator role, but I'm also an entrepreneurial spirit too. So we have my wife and I bought some rental, we're landlords, and that was like, should we do this? I don't, yeah, let's just go for it. And so I think I'm a natural integrator. I think that creative energy from being a musician, honestly, is what brought in the visionary stuff for me. So,
Mhm.
but like
Mm.
you and I have talked, it can be challenging, and honestly, the challenge is what I love too, right? And so, if you're challenged by something, it's in me to um to want to be kind of battling something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the single greatest lesson you learned on the music stage that you put in the proverbial briefcase and bring into the executive suite when it comes to high stakes negotiations and business talks?
Yeah. That's if it's one single, it's energy is contagious for me. So
Mm,
it's
mm,
what you bring in can really influence the room. So the energy that you bring to whether it's a pitch room or whatever, um, yeah, that the energy is contagious, and the more you can work to influence that energy, um, it'll just thrive. So
mm. And the fact that you put that in the forefront is eh, eh, you're sharing some of your secret sauce.
yeah. Well, most, I would think most business leaders, maybe not most, but many business leaders kind of push that aside, and you're so hyper focused on revenue and operating
Yeah.
profit and all that stuff. But honestly, the energy and influence can be a real game changer. So
Yeah, absolutely. We on the show we talk constantly about total performance, which is about mastering the technical side of performance as well as commanding the behavioral side. And you've been leveraging Wingspan's proprietary system for big time performance results that do show up on the P&L as well
that's
as
right.
just within your team and the relationships. You've also been leading your team through some serious high stress events in Minneapolis.
Sure. Yeah.
How did you lean on th- your own personal growth over the last few years to navigate through all of that?
Yeah. That's uh, naturally, I'm a person who thrives in crisis and conflict mode.
Mm,
It's just always come pretty naturally to me, and
mm,
but not everybody does, right? And for me, um, I think leaning on Wingspan, um, most recently, so a specific example is we had 3,500 federal agents come into Minneapolis in the winter time, and it was met with some serious resistance of the locals. And being in the hotel industry, we're in the spotlight, right? And so quite quite a challenging time for everyone in my program, in our company, basically, because from line level workers who are kind of scared to come into work, our leaders worried about not having staff, but also really concerned about everyone's kind of mental health and well-being. um, and without Wingspan, I positive that I would have just said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to get through it. Bing, bang, boom. Follow my plan. We got this." Not a horrible way to operate, but you're not building a culture and an organization that develops others to participate in that game planning, right? And so with Wingspan, I was, far more curious, asking advancing questions of my leadership team on how we're going to get through this. What ideas do you have? That kind of stuff. And so, I'm grateful for the program because we were able to, everybody on the leadership team, we challenged each other, we supported each other, and we got through it together as a team rather than me being the director of this is how it's going to get done. So that was huge, and it was one of the more challenging winters of my career for sure.
Oh my gosh, I only, of course, have snapshots from working with team members and hearing about just have not worked with leaders who are navigating that ever.
Yeah,
And like literally worried about the lives of your team members and coming together to navigate all that within an entire community there in Minneapolis. So,
yeah, yeah, and again, I'm just so grateful because we came up with some great ideas on how to make people feel safe and come into work. We had our one of my leaders had the idea to we're going to start a carpool situation, so we got everybody in and to and from work safely. And if it was just me kind of leading that game plan, probably there's many things that I wouldn't have thought of that
mm,
were fantastic. So I think that
yeah.
the
Well,
powerful partnerships is
mhm.
what I leaned on the most, I think.
Well, the other thing that happens when as you were doing that, and you continue to do that in your day to day, it's just this was so unique and incredibly high stress crisis.
Yeah.
Um, your when you're asking those questions and you're involving and inviting the team to come together to make their recommendations, you're reminding each of them that they do have healthy control over their part of the equation. That in and of itself, so if I'm being reminded, oh, I actually have some healthy control here, I will come down out of my stress zone into my performance zone.
Right.
And so I don't know if you realize it or not, really on a human level, you were, when you took that approach, you were doing far more to support them than you might realize.
Yeah. I think
Hmm.
I realized that with your help for sure. Yeah.
So, in your world, what does practicing your inside game really look like?
My inside game. This is a great question. So I have a couple of things. So it's important for me to take clarity breaks. That's another EOS term. But what we talk about in wingspan is these are like scheduled breaks, putting yourself into autopilot on purpose for a scheduled time. So um, yeah, so I schedule those, and once a week I go to a sauna and cold plunge. Um, Basically, it's a bathhouse pretty locally. And I used to go 3 times a week, but I love the place. But at least once a week, I go there. You get to sit in this quiet sauna for 15 minutes. Then you dunk yourself into 40-degree water for 3 to 5 minutes, and you go back and forth a couple of times. And it's just a time for me to like really reflect and ask myself the questions for my inside game. Am I leading with curiosity? Am I uh, yeah? Am I partnering with am I listening and partnering with intent, or am I listening to just respond? Those type of the inside game for me has been super super impactful and powerful. um and as someone who's not always an introspective person, um I found myself doing this a lot more and with a lot more intent. Another real quick thing is we have, and this is a quicker one, but we have Delta Marriott's. Our Minneapolis hotel is a Delta, which is a Marriott flag, and the pillar for Delta, we have water drops that we give to the guests, and it's they're, you drop them into your water, and it fizzes and creates a nice beverage for you. But the this water drop is purposefully, it takes some time to dissolve. It takes 2 or 3 minutes to dissolve. So you drop it in, and the intent is you don't touch it. It takes the 2 minutes. It's just a quick mental reset,
Oh, yeah.
and that's just another opportunity for me to approach the inside game, in a real quick, easy way. That makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then what comes to mind for me, with you giving yourself the space to shut out the all the inputs,
Hmm.
emails, texts, people
Right.
tapping on your door. Hey, do you have a minute? W- When do you tend to get those bursts of inspiration, for your songwriting or for the business?
So for sure the sauna thing, because the sauna is there's a couple of different actual sauna rooms. There are two that are like purposely social, right? So you're encouraged to talk to each other, but there is one that's a silent sauna, or you don't talk, and it's very meditative, right? And so those are like that's a good 45-minute hour of like complete shutdown. I think that it's really difficult to get inspiration just by like trying to summon it, right? But if you put
Mm,
yourself in that position, um and you're open and you're curious, all of the things that Wingspan kind of professes, you you're putting yourself in a position to be inspired. And so,
mm,
and most of the time, because that's during the work week, during the day, that's when the business stuff happens. um
mm,
Music, that I wish I could, again, I wish I could put that lightning in a bottle, because sometimes it just happens sometimes. But it's doing the things, it's putting yourself in that position. So a lot of times, if I do
mm.
want to write a song and I haven't written one for a while, I just block that time. Right, I'm gonna go down into my kids are musicians as well, as you know, and we built them a studio of sorts down in our basement for them to kind of jam, and they take their band there. So I'll block time in my own house in my basement saying, "Kids, this is off limits. I'm going down to play music." So
Yeah. It's my man cave for
yeah,
in my
exactly.
studio
Right.
for
Yep.
for the
Exactly.
next
Yeah.
couple of hours. Yeah. And by the way, that's a whole other. We could definitely spend some time on that. Just what you and Jess are just helping to like build into your kids
Yeah.
is amazing.
They're pretty awesome. And what a great partner she is too. So
Outstanding. Well, as you talk about, reflecting, and you definitely are so, um, I want to say tenacious about challenging yourself and reflecting on where you've been and how you've been, what your behavioral performance has been. And as you've been reflecting on either some old autopilot habits or even some of those old tendencies in the stress zone,
mhm.
what's been the most difficult for you to like confront with yourself as you've been taking yourself into this just this new space of where you're going as a human being?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think for me, it's mm, uh, before Wingspan. I think and even still, sometimes I hold, I believe that my value is in my ability to solve problems and fix things myself, right? And and this kind of speaks to what we talked about with the Minneapolis thing, is that it's great to be a problem solver and a fixer. That's a great skill to have. But if you're building it something, right, and you want to scale, it's super important to kind of shatter that. And not, like what you and I talk about a lot of times, I will swoop in, right, and try to solve this problem or fix this problem, and then I'm denying, the leader of that, um, part of my business, the ability to learn how to do that on their
Mm,
own. And so that's one that I really struggle with. I want to fix it. I just want to get in there.
yes.
so so that's been, yeah, I think,
But
and that and thankful to you for how you've kind of shown a light on that. So I appreciate it.
mm, mm. Well, it is like part of that practice is rewiring where you're going to get those endorphins from,
Right.
because
Because it's
it's like
such it's a huge endorphin rush. Absolutely.
yes.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it just turning your attention, and of course, as you are scaling the teams, and then going into new territory. So your
Right.
the business strategies that y'all are developing for Scalzo 10X, different verticals that you're heading into. I mean, those more complex problems, not really problems, really opportunities, though some complexity that naturally comes along is the new problem to put your attention to. That's where
Right.
you're incredibly valuable for the team, and they get to solve the problems at the Delta and
Right.
in the Parkview Inn and
Yeah. Yeah.
the other
Perfect.
properties. What specific framework or tool do you like grab onto when you recognize that you're starting to fall back into some autopilot?
Boy, I think I'll probably go back to the clarity break. Um, because not only in stress, right? Not only with stress do you need sometimes to take a beat, but a lot of times, even when you're in the doldrums, it's like whatever is kind of
Mm,
drawing you into that space. Sometimes it just needs a shocker, right? And
mm,
and I think a clarity break that's kind of comes with a set of questions, um, just jars would jar my behavior at that point.
mm,
So
mm. Uh, you are one of the strongest practitioners of utilizing advancing questions for your inside game.
okay,
I
yeah, I mean
have, in
it's
fact,
huge. It's
yeah,
it's a
you,
game changer for me. And again, and sorry to interrupt, but
yeah,
I'm not
please.
haven't always been a super like navel gazing individual, So, but it's and maybe, yeah, that it's been a game changer, and that's super important to me.
Well, and that's just it, is because of how you approach it. I mean, I've literally quoted some of your advancing questions you ask yourself to other leaders.
Ooh, nice.
To
Don't feed my ego now.
to though truly though, to help them see what's possible and what's powerful when they turn their attention. As you and I worked together over the past few years, you very quickly understood that inside game is really where it's at. And so you have consistently dedicated attention and energy to your inside game. For a lot of leaders, they focus on their outside game for quite a while
Okay.
before they really dig in to their inside game. And it's funny that you say, that you haven't been a navel gazing kind of person, and you still aren't. It goes back to that tenacity that you have, because you absolutely, that's part of where you utilize those advancing questions to um, create something where there is nothing.
Yeah,
And
that makes
you
sense.
tap it's like you tap into that quantum field and the field of possibility, to take the enterprise forward, and to take yourself and the team forward along with you.
Yeah, and honestly, that's my hope with bringing some of my uh you know s- other leaders in my organization into Wingspan is really to get them to focus on inside game too, and obviously outside game and powerful partnering and all of that stuff, super duper impactful as well. But for me, the I've found the most progress in my inside game, and I'm really
Mhm.
grateful, and I love that that I do that now. It's then there's purpose behind it too. It's not just like just taking a beat. So yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Which is a perfect segue to um, this next focus on the team that you're building and investing in. You aren't out there playing a solo acoustic gig.
hmm yeah,
You're investing massive amounts of time and energy and capital into your leadership team's development. How do you see their growth in their behavioral performance as non-negotiable as their president?
yeah. I that for sure that's a non-negotiable. I think our the growth of our leaders for me outpaces the importance of the growth of our leaders outpaces the growth of the organization.
Mm,
And I think that's in order to scale, right? We need first and foremost, are we hitting results in numbers? That's a given. That's the first
mhm,
question. But second, I would ask, are our people growing and how are they growing? And are we building future leaders? Are we building future
mhm,
integrators, future Ryans, future, or their own version of what I do, basically.
mhm,
So that's a non-negotiable. It's Are they challenging each other? Are in the room instead of this kind of back channel, you know,
mm,
passive aggressive, like in the room, we're not seeing that energy. But then as soon as the meeting's over, it's, well, I didn't want to say this because this. I didn't want to say this
mhm.
because that. Um, that's for sure a non-negotiable, and I think that's how you scale.
A lot of executives look brilliant on paper
Mhm.
because their technical numbers are up, yet their people are burning out or they're leaving. How do you personally define a truly healthy, high performing operation?
I think it kind of goes back to what I was getting at. Are you building leaders, right? Um, you're right. A lot of people on paper look great, and you look at their leaders, and everybody's burnt out. They're not again, they're not participating in the conflict. They're running from conflict. They're back channeling. Are we
Mm,
building strong, you know, leaders who run towards conflict and
mm,
who live in that zone? And I think honestly that how to define it, or I guess I'm probably not answering the question, but what I see is the conflict in leadership room, or the meetings. That's the special sauce, right? And
that
that's
healthy, productive sparring
right,
that we call
exactly.
it. Yes. Yeah.
That is the special sauce. That is flow. That's when flow state happens. Is when
Mm,
you're not just checked out. You're not just, these are the numbers I have to hit. Let's go hit them. It's when you're asking the questions in the room. That's the health of the organization. It's the people, ultimately, and that
yeah.
kind of speaks to our core values: people first is our first core value, right? So we have people
Good.
first, pride, ownership, consistency, and transformative. And if our organization is healthy, our leaders, not only our leaders, but our people embody those
Mm,
core values.
mm. Beautiful. What is, say a little more about, I'm forgetting the name that you call it, though, like the the cage match
Yeah, cage match. Yeah,
scenarios. Yeah,
yeah.
say a little bit about that because I would love for so many of the leaders listening in for them to install something very similar
Yeah,
within their teams. Yeah.
sure. And our HR manager is the one who came up with the cage match thing. But it's simply whenever, if you identify that there's something going on with two people, two or more people in your organization, you immediately get them in a room together with typically me and HR, and you just talk it out, right? There's it uh, running away from that conflict is you're denying yourself so much from that,
Mm, mm,
and you're kicking it down the road. And you know, there's always multiple sides to a story, but when you get people in a room and really press them and don't just go through the motions, you really you get them in there. What's going on? Why is this happening?
yeah.
It's super important to my organization. We don't let things sit. We don't let things fester. We get right in there and you get it done. And you know, 8 or 9 times out of 10, it's resolved pretty very quickly, and everybody respects each other more because you're not harboring that resentment for however many days that you wait until it's done. And it's, the other thing that's important to call out is it's not easy for a lot of people. And many of my leaders, it hasn't been easy to get in that ring right immediately. But for me, it's super important. So
Well, I've been just absolutely thrilled to hear some of the stories of also overlaying the personal contribution process in that because now the exchange has so much more useful information being shared and again that behavior which any of your leaders that are working with Wingspan, show this. They immediately are owning up and they're identifying their contribution rather than hyper focusing on what the other person is or isn't doing.
right, right, and honestly, the PCP makes it objective too. If it's written down and you're going through the process, here's the facts, ma'am. It's right there, and so it's super important. That's been a great tool for us. I've got actually in an hour and 15 minutes, I have a couple of them that we're working on. So I'm excited for those.
Aha. Nice. Oh, good.
Yeah.
Love that. Oh, and that's another thing too, is you and Lydia and Patrick, you have, and of course Paul, like you've been consistently using PCP, personal contribution process, like on the offense. I was saying to a leader who's fairly new, maybe has been, maybe they've had 5 sessions, 4 sessions with me. I was telling him that the personal contribution process isn't just built for like problematic performance or poor performance. It's built for what's possible.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
great.
you consistently use it on the offense to drive just that healthy high performance and that continued everyone raising their game. A lot of people aren't approaching it at the level and utilizing it at the level that you are.
Well, it's funny. It all kind of comes full circle, right? Because that PCP is such a great tool to build leaders, to increase energy, everything that we've talked about here already. I mean, that's
Mm,
just another fantastic piece of the pie right there. So, and I
Yeah.
agree. We take a proactive approach with it, and and exactly like you said, it's not it's it covers any all of the bases basically. It doesn't have to be always like there's this negative thing that's happening. It can be, you just want you want to improve your leaders basically. So, and
Yeah.
their relationships.
Stronger.
Yep.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Yeah. And the relationships.
Yep.
Yeah. Anywhere someone wants to be, stronger, leaner, meaner, more confident, more satisfied.
Hmm.
That's what, when you're playing in that arena, that's where it gets exciting. So
100%.
when you look across multiple business operations, how do you instantly spot a leader who is genuinely ready to step up onto the main stage versus someone who's just talking a massive game?
Whew, that's a great question. Instantly spot is probably not how it always happens, but many times you can see it very early, even in the interview process sometimes. So, and I like to sit in on interviews still for all the way line level interviews. Sometimes just pop in and to see how everybody's doing with the interviews. Um, Confidence. So, I digressing a little, when we do identify people who are candidate to be hired, we do the interview process. I'll sit in, we tie in our core values, people first, consistency, pride, ownership, transformative. Ownership obviously is a huge one. We build the questions in to kind of target, um, to elicit responses that are indicative of the people that we want to see leading our team. Another thing that I ask always every time I interview somebody is, we one of our buzzwords here is we promise remarkable hospitality, right? And
Mm.
so in order to get a feel for what that means to the person sitting across from me, I ask them to identify a specific time in the recent past where, whether it was at a restaurant or hotel or even their car mechanic or at Target, whatever, where somebody went above and beyond, to to deliver remarkable experience for you. And you can tell oftentimes when people are just kind of phoning in the interview because they don't have, they're like, oh, that's I can't really think of a specific time, but but then the people who really like dig in and tell you about when it was their birthday and they went to such and such a place and this happened. So immediately, that question immediately tells me if this is the person who is paying attention, number one, and if hospitality is that important to them. But kind of back to the question, it's, and kind of tying in what we've talked about before. When I see somebody with confidence and ownership and pride, and they are running towards conflict instead of running away from conflict, those are some good indicators of a strong leader.
Mm.
And like we've always talked about, challenging somebody is such a great way to support them. And so, if I see somebody that's been here, 3 weeks, and they're in a meeting and they challenge somebody that's been here 10 years, I'm like, ooh, put a pin in that. I'm going to remember that person, because
Yeah.
that shows the confidence, and yeah, I love that. I love that stuff.
Oh, that's cool. Our one of our new team members, Gigi, was in a team session, was asking for support on how she can exercise that, and she's a few weeks in.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
and that was such a fantastic exchange for us all to have, because she's learning. Yeah, challenging is a form of support, and that's how we all, it's just that iron on iron, how we're all sparring and partnering to get better.
Yeah.
And
If
yeah.
I was going to identify one specific thing that had the most impact in our conversations, that would be it. challenging is one of the best ways to support someone. And when you told me that, it was like something flipped, and I was like, man, I didn't think about that. Right? Why am I kind of skirting around this? Just go for it. So I've used that quite a bit. Yeah.
Oh, that's been. I love to hear it, man. Okay, Ryan, are you ready? This is our no BS rapid fire.
Okay.
So,
Yep.
3 words or less. Just your first instinct. No overthinking. No filtering.
I'm
Ready?
ready. Yep.
Acoustic or electric?
Electric.
The worst bullshit piece of corporate leadership advice you've ever heard.
Work smarter, not harder. Which I agree with, but it's just yeah. Anyway,
Which comes first, lyrics or melody?
melody for me, for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. What's the ultimate walk up song for Ryan Haas when you're walking into high stakes business exchange?
Oh, that is a great question. Uh, I think, and this will tie back to I'm more of a melody than a lyrics person,
Hmm.
but I'm a huge David Bowie fan too. So Suffragette City, I just really love the way that
Uh,
song starts. So
oh, nice. Okay,
yeah.
cool. Which feeling is genuinely worse, a dead crowd at a music gig or a totally flat executive meeting?
Man, that is really difficult. I'll go with the latter, the meeting, because with music, the bet you you can still you still have each other and you're creating
Mm.
something. It's really tough when there's nobody there, for sure. But
Ah,
you're still it's
oh,
kind of
like
like a
no one in the
practice.
crowd.
Yeah.
Like,
Is that what
okay,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I love that though, because the picture in my mind is, hey, I'm going to still play the music
Yep.
with my
With
bandmates
my
and
guys.
we're going to
Yep.
have, and yeah, with my guys, we're going to have an amazing time.
Yep.
Y'all can join us if you want
Yep.
to.
This is what it is. This is what it is. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Whereas in an executive meeting, that I mean, part of the reason it's usually dead is that you you don't have the partnering going on.
Yeah.
Y-
Yeah. 100%.
And yeah,
100%.
very cool. Um, what was your 2 word check-in when you were recently on stage?
Tour check-in. Man, we just had one of the best gigs we've had in quite a while, and I'm trying to put myself back in that space. I think it was or would have been Electricity and Fission,
Oh,
and it
where
was like
where
this
would
nuclear reaction that occurred. So it
oh
was
my
cool. Yeah, it
goodness.
was a fun. We were at we were here in Minneapolis at this brewery, a pretty big brewery called Surly, and it was a festival. And honestly, didn't have much of an expectation of how the show was going to. You always get fired up, but we just
Mhm.
completely crushed it. We did so well, and we have a relatively new um, woman singing with us too. So she and I are splitting about half the songs now, which kind of takes a little bit of heat off me um,
Mm.
as the main front man. And she's been with us a little over a year, and she's just really, really kicking ass now. So it was awesome.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
cool. Oh my gosh.
Shout out to Ashley if she listens.
Oh, nice. Shout out to Ashley. The who are you getting to capture more video when you guys are playing?
I asked Jesse, so in our younger years, Jesse used to come watch me quite a bit. But when the kids happen, it's just there's so many activities. We don't necessarily have a great video person now, but that's something that I'm going to put that on the issues list. How's that?
Oh, good. Yeah. An issue to
Yeah,
process.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, I'd love just when you're talking about that, this nuclear reaction, would love to be able to tune into some of that on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
For
And somebody
for
did actually record the audio of that, but I don't know if they have
mm,
the video. If they did, I'll send you a link to it. It was awesome though, really good. And then the funny coincidence is the woman who put on that festival actually happened to I met her in San Diego at an EOS conference 2.5 years ago. Knew she was from Minneapolis, but I was like, wow, Sarah Stern. I'm like, what is that name familiar? And then I was like, oh, it's the EOS implementer. And so I went up to her afterwards and we caught up. So that was pretty cool. So
that is
she
cool.
got to see like the nighttime Ryan as you
Yeah.
describe it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's your
Alter
daytime Ryan
ego.
and your night. Yeah, your alter ego
Yeah.
coming together.
Yeah.
Another nuclear
Yeah.
reaction
Exactly.
happening.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Ryan, you are living proof that you can bring your edge and your passion and your artistry to win at the highest levels in business. Thank you so much for coming in, being completely unfiltered, and showing us what unstoppable performance looks like. What else do you have in front of you? Like, what are some of the exciting things you have in front of you?
Scalzo is aiming to scale, and we are eyeing up one property now that we're excited about, and we're really looking to get into the hotel management game,
Okay.
and so scaling without investing a ton of money, and I think there's going to be some great things happen in the next couple of years for us in that space specifically. So super exciting.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, keep rocking,
Thank
man.
you.
And
Thank
to
you so much.
everyone
It's
listening.
such a
Oh,
pleasure
yeah.
to be here.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I'm just thrilled to have and for the leaders listening to just hear about this intersection. I'm hoping that some of you listening are going to bring more of your alter egos into the
That's right.
workplace.
That's right.
That's where the magic and the secret sauce is. So Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank
I want to make sure that the next time I come up to Minneapolis, it's when you've got a gig booked.
Yeah, I love that. That would be great. That's fantastic.
Outstanding.